welcome back to Superstars. Theme, please. Love the theme more every week. Welcome back to La Manga in Spain. It's Heat 3. We've got another 9 sporting legends who are ready to put their pride on the line to find out who is the most super of the superstars.
There are 8 different sporting events. So without further ado, let's look at tonight's Men of Steel.
First up, Britain's Olympic star from the 2002 Games, alpine skier Alain Baxter.
Everyone talks about the records. They're still held since, what, 81. So it'll be interesting to see what it's like this year.
Simon Archer, along with playing partner Joe Good, are one of badminton's most formidable doubles partnerships, winning medals at every single major championship. Former world champion 400-metre runner Derek Redmond.
It's actually just fulfilling a small dream. It's almost like a dream that I've had for many years to compete in it.
Richard Dunwoody is one of horse racing's most successful jockeys, with 1,699 winners. Twice champion at the Grand National, Dunwoody also rode the legendary Desert Orchid. British Open winner and 2-time Masters winner, snooker's Paul Hunter.
There's top athletes here, and all they do is run up and down the driveway. But no, I'm just here to, take part and enjoy myself and catch a bit of sun.
Next up, former West Indies cricket captain Jimmy Adams. He played 54 tests and 127 one-day internationals for the Windies. His highest score, 208 not out. The former Scotland and British Lions captain, rugby legend Gavin Hastings.
We can all relate to the situation and the guys coming together from loads of different sports, and no matter the background of the person or what sport, it's the old competitive instinct that just kicks in.
British tennis star Jamie Delgado won the national championships in '99 and has played at Wimbledon for 9 consecutive years. He also represents Britain in the Davis Cup. And finally, the former world indoor 400-metre champion and Olympic silver medalist Jamie Baulch.
It's got this sort of like prestigious thing about it, which, I think every athlete would love to do it, So, when I got the chance of competing in it, I thought, yay.
9 men, 8 events, 1 vision. They don't take part in all of them, though, do they, Susie?
No, they don't. They pull out of one, we take them out of another. And at the end of the day, the best 2 athletes will go through to the grand final.
Coming up in the show, things get very close down on the water. Jamie Delgado makes a bit of a splash in the football. And find out what's going on here.
OK, so let's start things off. We're headed down to the beach. It's time for event 1, the 100 metres.
The first competition is taking place down on the promenade at the Mar de Cristal. 5 of our athletes are running in this one, with Simon Archer and Jimmy Adams choosing to opt out. We've pulled out sprinters Derek Redmond and Jamie Baulch for obvious reasons. And there's Alain Baxter arriving to join his fellow competitors, who are all getting the expert advice on hand as they make their final preparations.
Did that feel quite comfortable? The front seat.
It's a far cry from snooker, isn't it?
It is, yeah, but someone's got to fly the flag for snooker and get out to the meet, innit? So I'm looking forward to it. It's only 100 metres.
You've been quoted as saying that you think you're going to get the least amount of points at Superstars ever. Is that right?
Most likely, Stanball's got 7, I think it was. I'm probably looking on 6.
Oh.
But no, I'm here to enjoy it. That's what I'm going to do.
We hope you get into double figures at least.
I hope so. Thank you.
Thank you.
So as Richard Dunwoody takes to the blocks for one last practice, let's join Paul Dickinson for the lineup.
Thanks a lot, Johnny, and quite a lineup it is. First of all, one of Britain's rising stars of snooker, Paul Hunter. Next to him, Scotland and British Lions rugby legend Gavin Hastings. And we have another Scot, slalom ski specialist Alain Baxter. The Davis Cup and Wimbledon tennis star Jamie Delgado. And finally, champion jockey par excellence, Richard Dunwoody. Well, certainly difficult to call a winner from this lineup. Few nerves on the starting line, that's for sure. Right in the centre, Alain Baxter. Set. They get away first time, and Baxter got off to a real flyer there. He's absolutely sprinting away with this. Paul Hunter on the far side going well. And this looks good for Alain Baxter. He's streaking away. He's going to win by metres. Jamie Delgado perhaps got second place there. The judges will have to sort that out. But what about Alain Baxter? Whoa, he absolutely flew down the course.
Oh, he certainly did. From the moment he exploded out of those blocks, there was only going to be one winner, I felt.
He looked very neat and tidy coming out of the blocks. I know he hasn't had very much practice with the sprint start, but he was soon into his running. And already everybody else was beginning to struggle. He looked magnificent.
He really did. I tell you what, I was very distracted while watching this by the presence of Paul Hunter there in lane one, just to see a snooker player run, you know. Delgado obviously took second place. It was then between Hastings and Hunter for third and fourth, and I think Paul Hunter, by a knee, just takes it off Hastings. Great running.
Those thighs certainly stood you in good stead there, didn't they?
I just hope they last for the rest of the tournament, you know.
Is there anything you're absolutely dreading?
800, not good.
At least no one was beaten by a jockey. They're all scared about beating by a jockey, weren't they? Everyone didn't want me to get beaten by a jockey.
I'm just out of breath now. Can't even speak hardly, but I enjoyed it. Third, that's fine for me.
That's very good. You could be the surprise superstar.
I doubt it very much, but I'm giving it a go.
Well, it was close, but Paul Hunter came in third, with Jamie Delgado taking a hard-fought second. Alain Baxter's time of 11.99 takes him to the top of the leaderboard. Just to remind you, for each event, the top 5 places will score 10, 7, 4, 2 and 1.
So, Richard, event one not good for you, the 100 metres there. Well, I think the problem could have been lack of horse underneath you, you know?
No horse, definitely needed the horse there. I was hardly out the blocks and they'd finished. But at least we picked up a point.
OK, and you're out the swimming, the next event?
No swimming, no gym tests. I've having a lot of trouble with my shoulder lately, so out of those 2 events.
OK, so where are you going to pick up your points here, Rich?
Well, it's going to be very difficult, but maybe pick up something in the golf. There's some good golfers, but maybe the mountain bike.
The mountain biking?
Hope might pick up a point.
Jamaica has produced many fine cricketers over the years, but few better than James Clive Adams, better known as Jimmy. The laid-back West Indian captained the national side on 41 occasions and has amassed over 3,000 test runs in his career. Naturally athletic and infectiously positive, Jimmy Adams will be looking to perform magnificently in Superstars.
Hi, how are you doing?
How are you?
I'm here to do some training for Superstars.
Oh, brilliant.
Can I have a towel, please? Thank you very much.
We caught up with the Jamaican superstar as he checked out his fitness down at the gym.
This is me getting ready for the 100 meters and maybe the 800 meters. Now, in my sport, I don't like running anything over 22 yards, but they asked me to do it, so I have to do it, but I'm going to do it at my own pace. Well, this is more like it. This is my speed, cycling, definitely. Did a lot of it when I was a youngster, and I'm really looking forward to this mountain biking event. Anything where gravity will pull me downhill is my speed. We are going downhill, aren't we? Oh, man. Well, I've never done this one before, kayaking, but did a bit of the old rafting down the Rio Grande in Jamaica, so who knows? Might get a few points from this one. Now, despite coming from Jamaica, swimming really isn't my thing, so they might actually have to have one of these little babies here just in case we don't want any accidents. But seeing as it's my first event, I am hell-bent on making a very good impression, so I'll be practicing very hard for this one.
So, as the athletes prepare for the 50-metre swim, it's time for some of them
to make their superstars debut.
Take away a little bit of that laid-back attitude and a bit of passion in there.
Yeah, well, the passion will stop me from drowning. You understand what I'm saying, right? Anything else you get, well, we'll see how it goes, but have a good time.
Good luck.
It'll be great.
As Derek Redmond and Jamie Baulch just make their final adjustments, we'll find out the lineup from Paul.
Thanks a lot, Johnny. First of all, 400-metre star Derek Redmond. Jamie Delgado, of course, second in the 100 metres. Another 400-metre star, Jamie Baulch, right in the centre lane. Badminton specialist Simon Archer. Gavin Hastings next, needs points. And finally, laid back, but always the supreme competitor, Jimmy Adams. So Baxter, Dunwoody and Hunter have all opted out of this event, but still we've got first-time appearances from Derek Redmond, Jamie Baulch, Simon Archer and Jimmy Adams. It's Derek Redmond nearest the camera. And a good start by Derek Redmond. And Gavin Hastings late to come up right in the centre. Jamie Baulch is really going well. And on the far side, Jimmy Adams too. But Baulch holding his form well. Derek Redmond, long and smooth stroke. Baulch touches first, Adams second, Redmond third. And the rest are quite some distance behind. But look at the form of Jamie Baulch. That's very, very impressive. John Regis, his former teammate, must be absolutely delighted for Jamie Baulch. He finishes like a train. Very good indeed. Jimmy Adams finishing in second place. Who's going to touch for third? Whoa! Well, is it Simon Archer or is it Derek Redmond? Who knows? Jamie Delgado just finishing ahead of Gavin Hastings, but what about the winner? That was superb by Jamie Baulch.
Hell no!
It was a great race he swam there, a powerful, fast stroke, great winner.
That was spectacular, wasn't it?
I'm so tired. Oh, I don't know how it went. You can't see when you're under the water, but it's good fun. I'm shattered now, though.
Well, you said you just wanted to finish and survive. You certainly did that. You did it in really good style, good time, and you obliterated the competition.
Well, that's good fun, you know. I could see someone down there on the left-hand side, but I just tried my best. It was good. Oh, look, I need the rest.
So your first competition, 10 points, is a great start for you for Superstar.
Yeah, really good start. Really good fun. The crowd are going mad. It's great. Brilliant atmosphere.
Well done.
Cheers.
Jimmy, you found that little bit of passion you were looking for there, didn't you, love?
Do you think? Was the form good?
Oh, the form was good.
Just checking. I'll be in the Olympics next year, yeah. Is that a couple of points in the bag?
Second, so you get 7 points. I think that's right.
If I wasn't wet, I'd kiss you.
And in the battle for third place, it looks like Derek Redmond gets the touch first, but in fact Simon Archer touches underwater for third place.
I've got some really bad news. Yeah.
That's my luck in fourth. I was trying to keep it up for the brotherhood, but there you go. Obviously, whoever it was got longer fingernails than me. Oh, well.
Well, Jimmy Adams survives, just. But Jamie Baulch is the first of our superstars to break that 30-second barrier. 10 points for Baulch, which takes him to the top of the leaderboard with Alain Baxter. Jimmy's 7 points takes him to fourth place. Now, when I was a kid, like so many of you, my favourite bit of Superstars was the dips, the squats, and of course, Mike Shannon in extreme pain. Yes, it's time for event 3, the gym tests.
Well, Johnny, I'm sure former footballer, now racehorse trainer Mike Shannon remembers his Superstars experience very well indeed. For this year's competitors, it's their first time in the gym test limelight. Richard Dunwoody and Simon Archer have opted out, so first up for the squat thrusts, Jamie Delgado. Now, he had to go it alone because of the odd number of athletes taking part. So lonely existence for our tennis star, and as always, of course, our referee Jeff Winter in control of the squat thrusts. The feet must travel right over the yellow line and back again to score as 1, and Jamie Delgado scored 69 in 1 minute.
How do you think you're going to get on with this?
I think I'm going to struggle a little bit. Yeah, yeah. I think this is a young man's thing.
Well, you're not old.
Old enough, yeah. Been through many wars, me. Fought many battles.
Well, you've got to fight another one now.
Definitely.
I'll let you get your shoes on.
All right, okay.
The next 2 athletes out.
So here comes Derek Redmond and Jimmy Adams. What a contrast between the two. Redmond bristling with muscles. Jimmy Adams taller and leaner. It's going to be fascinating. So as many squat thrusts as they can in 1 minute. And of course the target now set 69 by Jamie Delgado.
3, 2, 1.
So here we go, Derek Redmond just sliding backwards and forwards. Jimmy Adams, well, he's jumping over the line and perhaps expending more energy. Look at the rate at which Derek Redmond is going. Absolutely fabulous stuff, but can he keep it going? There seems to be a bit of oil on there, which certainly will make things a lot easier for Derek Redmond, and Richard Dunwoody perhaps thanking himself for deciding to opt out of this one. Jimmy Adams, his shirt is almost over his head. Derek Redmond stopping. And Adams, well, this could be a case of the tortoise and the hare. He's knocking them out like clockwork. This is good stuff for Jimmy Adams. And Redmond has stopped again. You can't see him just at the moment, and slowing up all the time. I just wonder, though, whether he's done enough. A good effort by both. 69, remember, the target. And surely Derek Redmond getting close to that now. Jimmy Adams, well, he's going at the same rate all the time. The whistle goes. And look at the score. Adams 65, Redmond in the lead on 76. He's absolutely exhausted. 65. Certainly the announcement of the score will give Derek Redmond something to go for in the dips.
He looks absolutely shattered, doesn't he, Paul? Look at that, he's walking like sort of Frankenstein as he comes down. They're almost like someone's slipped lead in his trainers.
And don't forget, he's got the dips to come.
Rather him than me.
Right, you two, are you ready for these gym tests?
No, it looks pretty painful, eh? It looks very painful. It seems like it's going to really hurt. I don't like when the announcer says you've had 15 seconds gone, because that's going to hurt me.
Well, you're going to feel like that's 15 minutes.
Yeah, I know I'm going to be blowing at that point. I'm going to wish I was sat at home watching this on TV.
Well, you're both going against each other, so do you think that's going to be a help to sort of egg each other on?
Yeah. Oh, perfect, eh?
So a big target set by Derek Redmond, 76, remember the lead at the moment. Alain Baxter on the right, Jamie Baulch on the left-hand side. Away we go, and both of them off to a cracking start. Alain Baxter, well, it looks as though he's using the same oil that Derek Redmond put down there for a bit of slippage. Jimmy Adams watching carefully, so is Jamie Delgado. Alain Baxter just keeps pumping those legs, and Jamie Baulch has stopped just to readjust his arm position. But I think he's going to be some way behind Alain Baxter already. Baxter is just pumping those legs backwards and forwards. And even Jamie Delgado's got to admire what the Scot is doing now. And you would have thought that Jamie Baulch were doing good at this event. Remember, 45 seconds to run round a 400-metre athletics track. But it's Alain Baxter who's showing everybody the way now. Heading towards 70, then 80. Getting tremendous support from the crowd. Baxter slowing a little bit. Jamie Baulch is having all sorts of problems, but Baxter just keeps on going. And listen to that, even Derek Redmond shouting for the Scot. This is fabulous. He's over 100. He's done the ton, and that has blown everybody else away. What a fabulous performance.
And Jamie Baulch turning in just 53, that really surprises me. If ever there's a man who looked like he was born to do squat thrust, it's Baulch. He's fit, he's strong, and he hasn't got great big long legs.
Alain Baxter, absolutely phenomenal. 25 points ahead of his nearest rival. Let's just clarify the situation over sliding. There's nothing in the rules to say you can't put oil down to help you. By the time we got to the dips, it almost became an academic exercise because of that great performance by Baxter. But Jamie Baulch rose to the occasion. He set a great standard. 43 took his total to 96. As far as Jamie Delgado was concerned, well, he muscled his way to 33 dips in total and went into the lead on 102. Derek Redmond surprisingly struggled to only 21 dips, but he did go ahead of Jamie Baulch by just a single point. Jimmy Adams withdrew because of an injured shoulder. That was just from the dips, of course, and that left the stage set for Alain Baxter. He only needed to do 2 dips to win. He did a lot more than that.
Well, after the squats, you only needed 2 dips. You managed 30 there. Good going on you.
Yeah, I thought I'd practice on the bars a bit, you know, for the real deal next week.
Seriously, though, it's going really well, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, no complaints.
So Alain Baxter is practicing for the final already. Mind you, he's got every right to be confident, with 2 out of 2 wins so far. Another solid 7 points for Jamie Delgado, moves him above Jamie Baulch. And despite pulling out of the dips with an injured shoulder, Jimmy Adams remains in 4th.
The athletes competing for the coveted superstar title are physically fit, highly coordinated individuals. But you stick them on water and suddenly you can see exactly why they've made their name on dry land.
You take John Regis. He opted for the kayak in preference to the swim. But as the evidence shows, Mr. Regis and water do not mix. It was a bad choice. And then there was Darren Campbell. He showed a promising technique. Unfortunately, he was doing it in the wrong lane. But at least he finished, which is more than can be said for some of our original superstars.
Stan Bowles is in trouble. He's dropped right back. Hasn't got it together at all. And it's Conte, Hunt, JPR Williams going quite well. And somebody's gone. There's a shout that somebody's gone, I think. That's Morgan McDonald. It's McDonald who went. McDonald completely overturned.
He was my arch enemy because he actually went underneath before me. And as I turned round to laugh at him, say, look at the cross, because them little cars are tiny, you know, whatever it was, I went over as well.
And that's Stan Bowles. Stan Bowles went. He went over, so both the soccer stars have had a pretty wet outing in the canoe race. Morgan McDonald paddling his way back. The rescue launch in attendance just as well.
Nearly 30 years ago, and people still come up to me now. And I suppose in some little way I've helped the superstars to come back because people come up to me and ask me about the superstars as well as the football. Because they said they fell about laughing. I said, well, you know, join the fun, so did I.
Minter nearest us. Tredget in the middle, a Cinder on the far side, and Minter's got the start and going well. The rhythm already digging in left and right. He's beginning to move over just slightly towards, not slightly, he's cutting right across Mike Tredget. Minter has gone right across Tredget, and he's now heading for a Cinder. And he's gone across the Cinder. Minter is going right across the lake. He's cut completely Tredget's lane, he's cut the Cinder's lane. Well, I don't know where he's going now. He's heading for the rhododendrons.
So if Stan Bowles and Supermac can find themselves sinking to the bottom and Alan Minter can find himself wedged in the bulrushes, how will this year's crop handle themselves once they get in the kayak?
We're back down on the beach for this event. The 120-metre course is set for 8 of our superstars to kayak. Alain Baxter, of course, is leading the field. Richard Dunwoody is taking part despite the strapping he's wearing for a long-term shoulder injury. And Gavin Hastings has opted out of this event.
And the water absolutely flat as a pancake for this first kayaking race. And our top 2 point scorers in the table at the moment, Alain Baxter next to Jamie Delgado. Now, it's 120 metres the course, and the fastest 2 from all the heats will go through to a head-to-head final. And again, Alain Baxter is away like a train.
Absolutely, the Flying Scot gets another flying start. As you said, it is flat as a pancake out there, and I know talking to the competitors beforehand, they were dreading any kind of choppiness. There's Gavin Hastings cheering on his fellow Scots.
Jamie Delgado at the moment going across the course, but Alain Baxter, very powerful. Who says skiers don't have to have powerful arms and shoulders? This is very impressive.
He's a tremendous all-round athlete, really, and it's one of the amazing things about superstars of which sports will suit which other sports. Alain Baxter, it turns out, suits all of them as he powers through the water here.
Looking absolutely fabulous. Alain Baxter coming away, and this time is going to be very tough to beat. 47.71 for Alain Baxter. Looking confident and looking back to see where Jamie Delgado is. I tell you what, he's a long, long way back.
He certainly is. We saw him veering off earlier, Paul. I don't know, maybe he took the scenic route. 103, I doubt very much whether they'll meet in the final of this event.
The next heat was much closer. Derek Redmond leading up against Paul Hunter. Redmond bristling with muscles, powering his way towards the finish, and Paul Hunter just hanging on in there. And Paul Hunter certainly was in second place. Derek Redmond stopped the clock at 50.72 to move into second place. Paul Hunter just a couple of metres behind him.
Coach of mine always used to say, before you become good at anything, you must at least look like you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. And it starts with the gear. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly, yeah, definitely.
The gear look... All right.
Preparations complete, so it's Richard Dunwoody. That left shoulder, a lot of plaster on it from multiple dislocations during his long horse racing career, and powering away at the start. That is a surprise.
Well, let's not forget as well that Jimmy Adams, of course, had to pull himself out of the dips earlier with his shoulder injury. So really, the battle of the wounded here.
I'll tell you what, Johnny, if they're falling to pieces, they're not doing too badly at all, are they? Richard Dunwoody is looking powerful, and Jimmy Adams just getting into it now. He is closing.
And look at the determination on Richard Dunwoody's face. He's probably more used to the horse doing all the hard work. Today, he has to do it all himself as he powers towards the finishing line. Adams going well, too.
Adams not just going well, he is closing, that's for sure. Richard Dunwoody, head down, arms pumping, gritting his teeth. And this is a good time from Richard Dunwoody. If he can hang on to his lead, I think he probably can. It's going to be a tad outside, 50 seconds, 51.15. Jimmy Adams, 53.91. Dunwoody third, Adams fourth. So the joker of the pack, Jamie Baulch, getting ready, looking a bit nervous against the ultra-competitive Simon Archer.
On your marks.
Away we go. Archer a little bit tentative. Baulch, well, we know what powerful shoulders he's got. Baulch is now beginning to move.
He's already used those powerful shoulders for one win in the water. Can he harness them for a win on the water? Archer, as you rightly say, has a reputation in the Superstars camp for being an ultra-competitive human being. He is determined to win one. Can it be this one? As a badminton player goes head-to-head with a 400-metre runner on water in kayaks.
Well, it's very, very close. Simon Archer closing just a little bit on Jamie Baulch. Has Simon Archer got what it takes to haul in Jamie Baulch and make it very close? This is super fast as well. Watch the clock. We're looking for time underneath 50 seconds, and Archer's getting closer again. Jamie Baulch grits his teeth. Oh, my goodness. 48.29. Sort that one out. Archer and Baulch, and I tell you what, neither of them know who's won that one. That was close.
That was so close. Let's look at this. Let's look at the photograph. And do you know what? You can't separate them there.
Should I know the result, boys? It's a dead heat. And you've got to rerun it so we can get the time to go through to the final. Today. Can you do it?
Well, I'll have to do it. It's going to hurt, but yeah, I'll have a go. Be good fun.
Just saying that your arms were shot to pieces.
My arms are broken, you know. We don't run really with our arms, and so it's easier for these racket sports.
I'm going to try with one arm next time. See how I go.
So it is Baulch, Archer 2 for a place in the final against Baxter. What do you think, Paul?
Well, I'm amazed, really. Jamie Baulch is the endurance athlete in theory. Simon Archer, of course, another explosive athlete. We know that from his great exploits in badminton, but Jamie Baulch looks relaxed. This is another close race. Simon Archer coming very close to that lane line, but look how close it is once again.
They're looking across at each other. It's like Ben-Hur out there as the competitors eyeball each other down this 120-metre course.
You just can't separate them at the moment. They're so close on the water as well. Well, just to clarify the situation, they had the joint second fastest time behind Alain Baxter. Whoever wins this is into the final. Jamie Baulch is having to work so hard, and Archer is closing. They're so close to the finish. Oh, look at that. What a race. I think Jamie Baulch has just got it.
Yeah, I think he got that by about a foot there. Archer will probably be feeling a mixture of disappointment at not winning and relief. He hasn't got to do it all again.
But Jamie Baulch, of course, he has to do it all over again now in the final, just
by an absolute whisker, Jamie.
Oh, I don't want to do the final. Nah, cheers, my man. That killed me. That is hell. Sheer hell. This is definitely Superstars. What?
Well, Simon Archer there taking part in one of the most exciting races we've seen so far in Superstars. Coming off second best to the winner, Jamie Baulch, who dug deep on that re-race and crossed the line a foot ahead of him.
We got DC, come on you.
Thank you, Darren. You're doing a good job, son. Can you see properly? Is it focused or what?
I think so.
Okay, well, this is my third time today. I had a dead heat early on. Now I'm doing a next one. So this one, I'm in
JJ, hurry up, because the camera's heavy.
Oh, yeah, I'm in the final. I've done all right to get you. I'm just chilling, son. I'm doing it for the
for the kids.
For the love of the sport. I'm in the final.
And just in case you're wondering who the cameraman is, fellow superstar, fellow athlete, Darren Campbell, good friend of Jamie Baulch, who's in this final up against Alain Baxter. Big points at stake here. Who's your favourite, Johnny?
Well, I'd have to say Alain Baxter, and I'm certainly sticking to that after the start he's just made. He simply seems to get that kayak moving faster than everyone else so much early on. His explosive starts have become something of a signature for Baxter in this competition, hasn't it?
Well, that was certainly massive acceleration through the water, but I have to say Jamie Baulch is not out of it yet.
He certainly isn't, but I don't think he's going to catch Baxter. He's going to have to pull something very fast out in the last half of this race. Look at Baxter getting ahead now. He's a whole length ahead of him. I don't see how Baulch is going to catch up. Now he's starting to play around with the crowd, look.
It's still pretty quick, but Baxter is going to finish #1 here in a pretty fast time as well. Jamie Baulch, his third time down this course. His shoulders must be burning, but Baxter wins it. That is the quickest time we've seen so far, 46.51, as Baulch takes a ducking. Ever the showman, Jamie Baulch, but he really had to play second fiddle there. Another superb performance by Alain Baxter. He was even faster in the final than he was in the heats.
And just look at that smile breaking out on Baxter's face as he crosses the finishing line in first place. 3 events, 3 victories, maximum points for him, and you wouldn't want to bet against him at this stage. Spare a thought for Jamie Baulch, though. 3 times he had to power down that 120-metre course for second place. So another victory for Alain Baxter, but Jamie Baulch's second keeps him in contact with the leader. Richard Dunwoody fights the pain and takes 5th. Simon Archer and Derek Redmond's points take them up to joint 4th with Jimmy Adams. Baxter's in the lead, but there are still 4 events to go.
If I say to you Paul Hunter, you don't necessarily think, what an athlete. In fact, he's the first snooker player since Tony Knowles to take part in Superstars. He's very good at putting balls in pockets, but can he transfer that skill into getting a golf ball in a hole?
Hunter is to snooker what David Beckham is to football, and he knows it.
I'm 24, I've got age on my side, so I don't need to train. I enjoy it, that's it, it's the buzz.
Paul Hunter is a natural. His talents have elevated him into the world's top 10, and he's already won 2 Masters titles and the British Open. Behind the facade is a fiercely determined competitor whose ambition it is to become the very best at his sport. And be warned, when it comes to ball sports, few will have a better eye.
You better watch out, you lot. I'm an 18 handicapper.
So, time now for event 5, Target Golf, with Alain Baxter, Jamie Baulch, Jamie Delgado and Jimmy Adams opting out of this one. It is a great opportunity for the rest of the field to catch up.
Paul Hunter, you're very good at putting balls in holes, aren't you?
Yeah, of course I am. Of course I am. Yeah, I play a little bit of golf, but I ain't got a handicap. There's a few good players, and it should be fun.
Play a little bit of golf. You were looking extremely good on that practice tee over there.
I don't think so. Did you see me some duff, some of them there? 2 foot, it'll be going in the water.
And what about you, Simon? Do you play at all?
I play off 12 with my friends, but I haven't got an official handicap, but I think Gavin's the man to ask, really.
Oh, then we shall ask Gavin. Gavin Hastings, who's been keeping quite a low profile, I have to say.
Taking part in the last 2 events, I feel like I'm re-kick-starting my Superstars career here. So hopefully some of the practice that I've done over the last few weeks might pay off.
So is this it now? Is this your charge for victory?
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Good luck all.
Now, this challenge is not as easy as it looks. The superstars have to chip 5 balls 40 yards over a water feature and onto the target. The closer to the pin the ball lands, the more points you score, and there's 10 points on offer for a hole-in-one. It certainly looked as though Gavin Hastings was nervous. He plays off a handicap of 5, and he muscled that one into the bushes. He was the player's favourite, but that one just went in the water. His final effort, it did score at long last. It landed on the line between 2 points and 3, but the rule states you're offered the highest score.
Gavin Hastings, 3 points.
A disappointing performance by Gavin Hastings. Then came Simon Archer, wearing his own golf shoes. A little bit rusty in terms of the swing, and a little bit rusty in terms of the ball landing way over the target. That was an even shorter backswing, but this time, Simon Archer, the badminton ace, was in the points. Like Hastings, 3 points.
Simon Archer, 3 points.
Next up was Paul Hunter. He told us he played off a handicap of 18. But his first few efforts, well, there were balls flying all over the course, and his girlfriend Lindsay was not impressed at all. He even tried bouncing it off a bush. That didn't work either.
Paul Hunter, no points.
So 0 scored for the snooker ace. Next up was Derek Redmond, a dab hand at most sports, a great all-rounder, but not on this occasion. The ball just dribbling through the scoring zone, and frustration for girlfriend Sinter. Derek Redmond always eager to impress, but perhaps on that occasion a little bit too much.
Derek Redmond, no
Once
points.
again, no points.
Can we do a meeting?
Richard Dunwoody, the last to go in this competition, and everybody wishing they could have their time on the golf over once again. That was 2 points for Dunwoody. It was looking promising. Head down, a nice sweet stroke, and guess what? Another 2 brought victory for the champion jockey. Richard Dunwoody's first win in this year's Superstars.
Richard Dunwoody, 4 points.
Gavin Hastings and Simon Archer would finish joint second.
A little bit too short for you today, was it?
Yeah, it's pretty tough because it's not full swing. And I found it tough, but so did
Gavin, the same with you, really. Got the glove on, you looking the part.
It was just, it's fine until you stand up there and it's like being put on the stage and just wondering how you're going to react. And as Derek said, the silence was just alarming. And if everyone had been laughing or something, that would have been all right. But the fact we were so bad, that's what added to the trauma.
It's because you're used to all this hilarity, isn't it? And 10 points for a man who scored just 4, but you just take those 10 points.
I'm still shaking. I gave up golf 10 years ago, and I can see why now. God, but yeah, I don't think I've shaken as much in my life. Down at the start of the Nationals, not as bad as this.
I'm sure he's exaggerating. So the golf proves to be the toughest competition so far, with our jockey coping best with the pressure. Badminton and rugby union also make it onto the scoreboard. Victory and 10 points moves Dunwoody up to 5th place. Archer and Hastings share the points for 2nd and 3rd, with Hunter and Redmond in 4th.
So that's how the group stands at the moment. Nice to see Richard Dunwoody finally getting under starters orders with a great victory over golf-mad Simon Archer and Gavin Hastings there in the Target Golf. He's going to find it a bit tougher in the next event, though, with all 9 members of his group opting to run in the 800 metres.
Have you seen how far we've got to run? 800 metres this thing.
This one ain't funny. I've got to kind of take it seriously because it's what I used to do. Would you believe it's the least event I've been looking forward to?
People think because I'm a 400-metre runner, I can do this stuff on gravel. And the same goes for you and Thomas over here. Look, here he is. Let's just get it for the record.
One lap is as far as we go in training.
Yeah.
Never more than 500 metres, and then we have about half an hour to the next little 300 metres.
And that's what you get. Then go to Darren.
Forget Darren.
100 metres. Can you look down a sec? Check these. I got trainers. I run in spikes. I cannot do this thing. Do I look Kenyan?
Well, you saw sprinters Ewan Thomas and Darren Campbell there with Jamie Baulch. When they ran this course last time on Superstars, they came 1st and 3rd. Ewan's time of 2:01.57 is the current record for the series, and it's going to be a tough one to beat.
Every one of our superstars running in this 800-metre race. And I guess the athletes must start as the favourites. Jamie Baulch, who hits the front in the light blue vest, and Derek Redmond.
And interestingly, although you'll be the judge of that, it is mathematically possible for Alain Baxter to book his place in the big final, depending on the result of this race. I won't run you through the permutations that have to happen for that to take place. They would drive you crazy, Paul.
I'm sure they would. Interesting there. Gavin Hastings going through in last place. Paul Hunter in the red. They've got a bit of work to do. And Jamie Baulch looking excellent. He's about 10 metres ahead of the rest. Alain Baxter wearing yellow. He told us earlier he wasn't looking forward to this race at all. And he's next to Simon Archer, who is desperate for points now.
I mean, you mentioned Paul Hunter and Gavin Hastings battling it out for last place there. The great thing about Superstars, I think, is just how these unlikely battles develop. Here we've got a star of snooker battling it out with a former British Lion captain for last place in an 800-metre race round a yachting marina. Who'd have thunk it?
Well, there goes Jamie Baulch round the 400-metre point, back towards the finish now. 66.56, not particularly fast. Alain Baxter, Archer, Adams, and then Delgado, Richard Dunwoody coming through, Derek Redmond, and now Gavin Hastings. He's pulled away a little bit from Paul Hunter, and Paul Hunter looks all in. Unlike Jamie Baulch, who's just having a look around to see where the opposition is coming from, looking very smooth indeed.
Baulch does look comfortable at this stage, doesn't he? Looks like he's just cruising it at half pace.
Jamie Baulch, not used to running this sort of distance in training. The furthest they would ever go would probably be about 500 metres, but look at the gap between himself and the rest. And I tell you what, he's going to start kicking in a minute. He's coming away. This is remarkable from Jamie Baulch, and the real battle is going on for second place. Alain Baxter, Simon Archer, Jimmy Adams, they're all there. Who's going to get second? No doubt about the winner, Jamie Baulch, just cruising through now. A little bit of showboating, I think, that sprint finish. And Alain Baxter's coming away to maintain his remarkable record in Superstars. Jamie Baulch sprints for the finish. That was easy in the end. And 2 minutes 14.49, a pretty reasonable time as well. Maximum points, good news for Baulch. And Alain Baxter comes home. Jimmy Adams coming through for third place. Then Simon Archer, then Jamie Delgado. Good effort from Adams. And Richard Dunwoody finishing there. Look at Paul Hunter.
Yeah, he's in 9th position. He's coming down there. There's Gavin Hastings, the former British Lion captain, finishing in 7th. Paul Hunter still smiling through the pain as Derek Redmond crosses the line in 8th position. Paul Hunter told us right at the outset of Superstars the furthest he ever runs is up his own driveway. I think from this we may assume it is a long way shorter than 800 metres.
The only thing I can say about that race is I got smoked by the rest, but I beat the smoker.
So 800-metre success for Jamie Baulch. He didn't beat Ewan Thomas's series record, but he will take maximum points for the second time in this heat. Paul Hunter may have come last after having come third in the 100 metres. His body obviously not designed for the longer distance.
Oh God, that was so hard. I'm so unfit. Oh God, I need a new pair of lungs or something. Oh God.
When did it start to hurt?
From the start. No, when I got to the corner, I just knew I wouldn't be able to keep up with them lot. But I got to do it. That was the main thing.
A gutsy performance there by Paul Hunter. Sadly for him, no points for 9th. Jamie Baulch, a comfortable winner, but just 2 seconds split the next 3 athletes. Alain Baxter's 7 points see him through to the final, with 1 place still up for grabs. Baulch, Archer, Adams and Dunwoody are all in with a chance. OK, so Alain Baxter has definitely booked his place in the big final, but who is going to join him from this group? Perhaps we'll have a better idea after our next event. The stage, as you can see, is being set. It's time for the football. With all 9 of our athletes opting to take part in this event and with crucial points at stake, the skills of our goalkeeper, Big Dave Besant, could make or break the fortunes of our superstars as they attempt to put 3 past him on the football field.
Oh, Jimmy, the understated athlete, always saying that you're not going to do it, and yet pulling out a few surprises.
No, I'm under a lot of pressure here. See, I did a wee bit of defending when I was younger, but you see, these are attacking skills, so the pressure is on. But I'm sure my mate in rugby here, Gavin.
Gavin Hastings.
A grand experience here today.
He is unbelievable, this man.
Have a look at him. Close-ups and all.
Jimmy Adams is unbelievable. He has been a star of the team, I think, and just been incredible. Watch his football skills. He'll probably header all 3 of them into the goals.
The object of this challenge is to dribble the ball around the course, take the ball up to the D and shoot. The athlete with most goals in the quickest time is the winner. Well, despite the height, Jimmy Adams didn't fare very well at all. 3 attempts, no goals. He didn't really trouble Dave Besant at all. His time, 50.02 seconds, and his chances of making the final were now slim. Simon Archer really needed to take maximum points to challenge for a place in the final. He looked tentative, but then he blasted it. Good effort. Once again, rather like the golf competition, there were a lot of nerves out there, which was surprising from all of these very experienced international sportsmen. He was looking rock steady, Archer, and that was goal number 2. That would give the rest of the competitors something to think about. And don't forget, after the 3rd effort, they must all sprint back to beat the clock. Maybe Simon Archer got a bit too confident. Dave Besant saved that one well. The sprint for the line stopped the clock at 44.48. Archer was in the lead. Richard Dunwoody scored a cracker, but he did only get 1 goal, so his chance of a place in the final was over. Despite the fact Paul Hunter can't make the final, he still scored 2 out of 3, and that moved him into 2nd place. Gavin Hastings, a world record breaker with the oval ball of rugby, not so good with the round one. He just got 1. Derek Redmond was so relieved to score 1 goal, he almost forgot to run back to the start line. Alain Baxter was already through to the final, but that didn't stop him scoring 2 very good goals indeed. He jogged back to the line. He was loving this atmosphere. He decided to celebrate, and he was joined by the whole of his superstar teammates. Jamie Baulch required either 3 goals or a quicker time for 2 than Archer's 44.48. He was looking very confident, and they really blasted that one with his left foot. Now, obviously, we know Jamie is very quick over the ground. That was certainly going to be an advantage. He was looking quite nifty in terms of the football skills as well. That one was very cool indeed. To make sure of winning this event, he'd love to score goal number 3. The banter between the competitors at this stage in the competition was great. It didn't help with Jamie's 3rd effort, though. He made a total mess of it, and then all of a sudden he remembered he had to run back to the line, and he just did enough at 44.40. He was in the lead for the time being. And finally, Jamie Delgado in his last event. If he was going to win this one, he needed to score 3 goals. The first was excellent. Everybody suspected Jamie wouldn't be as fast over the ground as Jamie Baulch, so he needed to guarantee 3 goals to get the magical 10 points. He approached with caution on number 2, and the big long legs of Dave Besant got in the way, so now it was a bit of a sprint for Jamie Delgado. And so the tennis man, he certainly knows what pressure is. He had to guarantee getting number 2 in if he was going to score any decent points at all. And he did it. It was superb. And the time was surprisingly quick. Just outside 46 seconds for Jamie Delgado, and then a pre-planned Gaza-like celebration invaded the pitch. His last appearance in this year's Superstars, and Jamie Delgado finished 4th. So following in the footsteps of fellow athlete Darren Campbell, who won the football last time, Jamie Baulch scores 2 cracking goals and demonstrates some nifty footwork to pip Simon Archer to the post once more. This time, there was only 0.08 of a second in it.
I don't know, you two. We just can't split you up, can we? Almost a dead heat again on that.
I know. Well, I can't believe it, you know. I should have kicked it with my left. I got excited, now the crack on my right and messed up.
Well, you were singing down the bottom. If you hadn't been singing, concentrating more, you might have been a bit quicker. How about you, Simon? It was great fun.
I think I need to get a bit quicker on my running. I can't obviously keep with him on that. So he's been brilliant. I've been chasing him all the way and just can't quite catch him really. So he's been good. He's going to be one of the guys to beat. So it's been great fun.
Got some news for you, Paul.
Go on.
You're not now going to be in the record books for the lowest ever points.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, Stan Bowles 7 points. You've surpassed him.
So, confirmation of a Baulch football victory, which takes him through to the Superstars final with Alain Baxter. And his maximum 10 points means he's overtaken Baxter for the very first time and become the group leader.
So there you go, Baulch is through, Baxter's through. You'd have thought everyone else involved in this heat would have just given up the ghost, flown home. But no, Simon Archer is still determined to win one event. And the only chance he's got left to do that is right here in the mountain biking.
This event has become the most dreaded event in Superstars. The athletes have to mountain bike 600 metres up the La Cala Road. Redmond and Delgado are out of this one, but 7 of the Superstars are ready to ride. Let's go over to Paul for the start.
Thanks, Johnny. A last chance to see these guys in action. It's going to be quite some race. Away we go. Up the mountainside. Jamie Baulch in the light blue. But I guess the guy we're all going to watch here is Simon Archer. He still has not had his victory in Superstars. It all becomes academic now because Baulch is through to the final. Alain Baxter in the yellow is through to the final, so this is all for pride. Gavin Hastings on the left-hand side of the screen. Baulch tucked in behind Simon Archer, and Alain Baxter, as he's done so often, leading.
And I have to say, Paul, just looking at the road they're cycling up on the screen here, the sheer gradient of this route just doesn't come across. I drove up there a few minutes ago in my rented car. I've got to tell you, by the end of it, I was shattered.
Well, that's certainly bad news for the competitors. I just wonder if anybody's told them it gets worse than this higher up.
Got Gavin Hastings in front of me. He's kicking my butt. Not a very pretty sight, his butt. Richard on my right. Oh no.
Well, if I was Jamie Baulch, I'd save my breath for the latter part of the course, I really would. He should worry about that more than where Gavin Hastings is. But there is Hastings, tucked in behind the leader, Alain Baxter.
He's killing me, help!
Jamie Baulch suffering, but everybody else will be very soon. This is where the gradient really starts to increase. Steeper and steeper as Alain Baxter drives on. And Baxter is looking superb here, hardly breathing at all. Simon Archer next to Gavin Hastings, and Paul Hunter is off his bike. He's way down the course. And Alain Baxter just breathing easily now, enjoying himself. But that is the smile of a tiger. Now look at this, Simon Archer coming up on his right-hand side. But then Baxter puts the hammer down, comes away. So Simon Archer won't get his victory. A little wheelie over the line. And that is victory number 4 for Alain Baxter. And a good second place for Archer. And poor old Paul Hunter, he's miles back. And Gavin Hastings finishes in 3rd place. Good effort. Jamie Baulch decides to run. Little dip for the finish line, not necessary. He's through to the final as well. Next over the finish line, Richard Dunwoody just gets over. I hope somebody hangs on to him, otherwise he might go hurtling back down the mountain, and he's just asked for a steward's inquiry. Can you believe it? I think he might be a bit saddle sore as well.
Scenes of total exhaustion in the baking heat at the top of this mountain at the very end of our mountain bike ride. There's Jimmy Adams, former Windies skipper, just crossing the line. But he can't believe how much effort he had to put in to move so slowly.
It's been an honour and a great pleasure to be here.
And it's been an honour and a pleasure to watch you, Jim.
Absolutely, and all the superstars, including this guy, Paul Hunter, representing snooker, and representing snooker well. Nobody gave him a chance, but he's been one of the most popular members of this team. There's great friendship around here. Everybody stayed to watch Paul Hunter get over the finish line, and he's going to, but only just. Well done to Paul Hunter, and well done to everybody. Hang on to him, guys. He's a precious commodity. What a finish to our last event. What a competition.
Alan, not only winning that race quite convincingly, but when you heat through to the final. But how was the race for you?
It was good. I mean, I took off pretty early, not fast, but the guys were sort of hanging on me. Gavin came up really close, and then Simon at the end there had a wee sprint finish, made it a bit more exciting.
Jamie, I know you were desperately worried about that. We know you're through to the final. That was very tough, wasn't it?
It was a joke. It was a real joke, you know. I had to get off and run at the end, you know what I mean? Because I knew I could run faster than go on this stupid bike.
So an uphill victory for Alain Baxter, with Simon Archer not that far behind. And good to see Richard Dunwoody's 5th place sneaking him a point from in the saddle. After 8 gruelling events, our superstars have completed the required 6 tests. Alain Baxter and Jamie Baulch live to fight another day.
So there you go, 2 more slots filled in our grand final. Susie, who's coming up next?
9 more stars next time, including cricketing legend Richie Richardson.
Oh, my favourite cricketer, go on.
Boxing world champion Ricky the Hitman Hatton.
Hard as nails.
And Johnny, your favourite footballer, Mr. Dennis Wise.
Oh yes, that's all coming up in Heat 4. Until then, from La Manga and Superstars, goodbye.
We're off to one of the coldest places on Earth next on BBC One, hunting Chris Ryan. And if you reckon you could challenge a superstar, check out BBC Eye's special game at bbc.co.uk/superstars.